Not a bid. This was done as an RFP, a request for a proposal. So we're not required to take the low proposal. There are other considerations that can go into our decision. And not only will you give us a 50-cent tour, will you give us your explanation as to why you recommended we choose someone other than the lowest proposal? Go ahead.
There was a couple factors that led into this. One, obviously, we were doing winter demolition versus previously we were thinking we'd do a fall demolition. We specifically wanted to interview the contractors, both contractors who were the two lowest responders, to make sure they could do a winter job. We wanted to make sure that we were comfortable that they could do the job once they got started, that they had the equipment and the manpower to do it. In this case, it's more along the lines of having enough trucks to pull the demolition debris out of the site and get it to landfill in a fairly expeditious manner. In talking with both contractors, Michael Seaver and I got comfortable with BSB, as well as the mayor was at that interview, as Lonnie Dunn and Bruce was there as well, and we just felt that BSB was a more competent contractor to do the work under this situation with the cold weather. One contractor, Green Trap, was less comfortable working under 32 degrees, whereas BSB said that wasn't an issue, that they would add fluids to their water tanker to not allow the water to freeze so that they could still spray in cold situations for dust mitigation. Although that may not be a big issue at this time of year, those were all factors that we took in consideration. In addition, BSB said that they could mobilize in 7 days on the site, whereas Green Track said 30 days.
And Michael Seaver will be, for lack of a better definition, the project manager of this project,
We
correct?
will have either Michael Seaver or Warren Dietrich on the site all the time.
Questions for either
Mr.
Michael
Chair.
Seaver or yes?
Chuck, wasn't there something in there too where they weren't going to charge us to retrieve the
There were
the
two other
historical
factors that
effects?
played into this decision. BSB was using Schaefer, local hauling firm, so we don't get into the issue of the 50% contractor. If they're outside Adams County, their municipal code says 50% of the labor force has to come within Adams County. So if you go with Green Track, you have to waive that requirement. And secondly, BSB said they would work with us on retrieving some of the architectural details, the Corinthian columns, the historical signature slab, that BSB said that they would not charge us to come up with some of those architectural features, where Green Track said that they would charge us time and material cost. So we felt at the end of the day more comfortable with BSB doing the project.
Chuck, on the offer of free services from BSB, the bid from Green Track that included the complete salvage of the standing material was still $20,000 lower than the bid that was recommended, correct?
Correct.
Further question or comment?
Yes, sure.
Alderman Brink.
Chairman. Chuck, you talked about having a staff on site all the time. What additional costs are we going to incur with this?
There will be no extra cost. It's what you're paying for having a building inspection office.
And so air quality,
We actually are going to, Michael and Warren are taking a class starting in the second week of February, an asbestos training class for a week to qualify them as certified in the asbestos removal review process.
and prior to that class, we were talking about 35,000.
We were going to have to hire someone to do that, but after digging into the asbestos review requirements, and again, I should let Michael speak to this because he was the one who's talked to EPA about this. We can go through a course and train our guys to be that eyes and ears on the site to be asbestos qualified to determine if there's a problem or not.
And so back to Alderman Dusterhouse's, the question, and the difference is,
At the end of the day, if you subtract that out, I think we're going to still be at that same basic price point on this.
thank you.
Alderman Sassen.
Chuck, if one of the concerns is the 30 days, if we award this bid tonight and we're not going to be ready ourselves till February, mid-February, does the 30 days, in that mute then?
Our next step after the council authorizes this is to get a contract in place, and that's going to, my guess is that's going to take a week or two of going back and forth to get that in a final form, assuming, and both contractors understand that the council has to take action. Once council takes action, then a contract's drafted, then we negotiate that to make sure we have everything spelled out, because this is a significant expenditure on our part, and we want to make sure our legal team has a chance to review that. The contractor's going to want to take a look at that, spell out the details of what a workday is and how many days expected to get the work done, when they're going to work, when they say they can't work because of weather conditions. There are going to be some work days that probably, if you have a high snow level or icy roads, we got to take that into consideration here.
And I think we talked about this committee, though, in their performance bond, so if we do take the lowest bid, there will be some kind of...
Another good point, Green Track requested us to put, do a two-party check with the landfill up front for $90,000 to forward pay the landfill fees. BSB basically told us that they are looking at us to pay at a 50% level and a 100% level. So they'll have half the site completed, which is basically cleaning out of the hole before our first payments can be required.
But we have... go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think
Chuck.
BSBA would like a small mobilization fee up front, but nothing near what Green Track asked us to put up front.
So basically, the low bid is wants 50% up front, which we already have the money set aside for this.
Yes, we do.
So the money issue is really not relevant as far as, I mean, we could pay that up front to save the $60,000 if we want the low bid.
That's possible.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, inspection, we had to get comfortable with the contractor.
Gotcha.
That was our key criteria. I realize money's a big issue here. I'm not going to dismiss that. But we want to make sure we had a contractor that's going to come in, get the job done like they say they're going to do. The last thing we need to be sitting here in April talking about how come the demolition's not done and pointing fingers at a contractor.
Thanks, Chuck.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Alderman
I have a
Haverhill.
question for legal counsel. If Chuck mentioned that if we award to the lower bidder, they do not meet the 50% requirement, will there be a required action if we go ahead and adopt the low bid tonight? Would there be another required action to waive the 50% requirement in the same motion, or shortly thereafter?
I
It's
would
part
go
of the
ahead
city
and-
code. I mean,
You can waive the city code at the time you accept their bid and move with
okay,
the
I
acceptance
just
of
want
the
to make
bid.
sure we all
Yeah.
have,
Waiving
if we
that.
do that, that we have
I've
that.
cited that code section in my
Yeah,
memo, so
yeah.
you knew.
It's 13-121.
Right.
But just so we're all speaking the same language, again, there is no bid. We have a set of two
I'm
proposals
sorry.
that require us to go back and negotiate with our preferred proposal, a agreement or contract. So we don't have bids. We need to be careful with that language.
You're right.
Correct?
That's
I
correct. We
I
have
probably
proposals
threw
on
that
it.
around too much.
And let me just ask, well, go ahead, Alderman Leper.
Sorry, just to clarify, the proposal that you are proposing to us to accept, what is the timely manner? I know you're telling us that it should be a lot quicker to have this demolition complete, and you feel a lot more comfortable that they are going to complete the demolition. Have they given exact timeframes, both companies, that you're getting those numbers from, or are you just feeling this is the way things are kind of moving?
In terms of mobilization, the BSB is with the contractor we had suggested or recommending to council said a week to mobilize. Green Track said 30 days. So from 30 days of having that contract signed by both parties is when they would get a notice to proceed. So that's, you can figure on whenever that contract is finalized and complete, we give notice to proceed. That's the time frame, either 7 or 30 days. I'm just telling you, based on the training that we have set up with our staff, they'll be ready to go in mid-February.
And let's clarify one thing for everyone. These decisions weren't made willy-nilly. There are a set of criteria that all of you gentlemen looked at that we probably would be best served to the public not to discuss, to make the decision that one proposal is superior to the other proposal.
we felt more comfortable with BSB development.
Okay. Discussion. One more question, Alderman Brink?
Need to turn your mic on.
All right, I thought I had it on. Could you go through the TIF fund and what it generates per year? And
Sure, and hopefully you all have this in your packets. I presented you in the packet on this project, the TIF capital improvement budget for FY14 and 15, and the balance as of the 9th of January is we had $514,000 on hand in TIF 2, which is the west large TIF district, the older one, and $37,000 in the newer one. So a combined amount of $551,000 on hand. We have expenditures that we have yet to complete. Parking lot K has an outstanding balance of $64,000, 6th and Jersey. We've got Northside Boat Club amount that we yet needs to be paid on that commitment of $7,600. Parking lot I still has a retainage of $2,800. We got the Newcomb cleanup. I budgeted at the recommended BSB at $441, so $441,000. So that comes to $515,695. That leaves us a balance of $35,000 in our TIF fund at the end of May, assuming that we pay those bills, as I outlined. Now, starting in July, we'll get our first TIF payment. And assuming we get the TIF payment in our general levy on TIF 2 is $360,000 based on the statistics I got from the Gary Zellerman's office at the county recorder's office. In TIF 3, which is the new TIF, should generate about $14,000, so we should have about $409,000 on hand towards the end of the second payment process as the taxes are paid. I assume that's August and September is when that second payment comes in. So I've also identified the expenditures that we've yet to spend money on, that we've made commitments to, the Riverfront Connector Corridor. We got a Wayside, which I don't think will come in at 10 grand, and then we got the HQD wayfinding program that is another balance of $22,000 we expect. So out of that $409,000, we have about $84,000 in commitments. So we have a balance of $325,000 by the end of this fiscal year. And I would think that once we get through the Newcomb, we start breathing a little cleaner here on where we're going with it. Some of that money may be committed to that project, or it may be committed to our next parking lot project, which we told HQBD we would jump into the next parking lot improvement project. And we haven't made a decision on which one yet, but we want to get those downtown lots done.
so, Chuck, we have not made any commitments we can't meet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Thank you.
One more question, Your Honor.
Yes.
Kind of following up Alderman Brink, if we did not use TIF funds for this, is there any way we could do this? I mean, I know the answer to this, but there's no way in general fund or anything that you're aware of where we could come up with the funds to do this in a timely manner.
Yeah, when this was discussed at the Finance Committee, I think the consensus from the mayor and administration down was that there's no other set of funds set aside. Now, I think the council needs to remember that how we got this fund to begin with is kind of an interesting story. We made a commitment a long time ago to do the Croc Center, to do the streetscape, and we were able to get 2 grants, the ITEP grant and the CDAP grant. That gave us a pot of money, about $500,000 that was committed to the streetscape that we didn't utilize because we got a grant. That gave us extra cash flow, and that's what basically we're riding off of right now. It's that extra cash flow, and that's what's basically being spent now, is that TIF commitment we made to the Croc Center that we didn't need to use because we got a CDAP grant. And now it's being used on this project, unfortunately.
All right, thanks.
There is a motion and a second on the matter concerning the adoption of the recommendation by the Planning Department for the proposal on the removal of the Newcomb site. The clerk will call the roll.
Alderman Gill.
Aye.
Mann.
Aye.
Deusterhouse.
No.
Bauer.
Aye.
Holbrook.
Aye.
Havermill.
Aye.
Farha.
Aye.
Sassen.
No.
Rhine.
No.
Lepper.
Aye.
Mussolino.
No.
Brink.
No.
Heineke.
Aye.
Oslog.
Aye.
9 ayes and 5 noes.
Motion carries.
Last resolution is Airport Manager, Director of Central Services and Central Services Committee recommending the low quota Palmer Johnson Power System of Benton, Missouri in the amount of $4,800 to replace the charge pump in E1 Titan HPR ARF truck CRIA located at the airport.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Alderman Deeser.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that this resolution be amended by substituting the Aeronautics Committee for the Central Services Committee.
Thank you.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I move for adoption of the resolution as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Alderman Gale. Aye. Mann.
Aye.
Deusterhouse.
Aye.
Bauer.
Aye.
Holbrook.
Aye.
Havermill.
Aye.
Farha.
Aye.
Sassen.
Aye.
Rhine.
Aye.
Lepper.
Aye.
Mussolino.
Aye.
Brink.
Aye.
Heinecke.
Aye.
Oslog.
Aye.
14 ayes.
Motion's adopted.
Have the report of the finance. Transfers to be $119,000. Expenditures to be $348,389.74, and payroll to be $127,440.85. Farha, Deusterhouse, Sassen, Havermill, Hoslag Committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Alderman Sassen.
I move this report be received and filed.
And the vouchers issued for the various amounts?
Yeah, second.
Okay. Clerk will call the roll.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Mann.
Aye.
Deusterhouse.
Aye.
Bauer.
Aye.
Holbrook.
Aye.
Havermill.
Aye.
Farha.
Aye.
Sassen.
Aye.
Rhine.
Aye.
Lepper.
Aye.
Mussolino.
Aye.
Brink.
Aye.
Heinecke.
Aye.
Oslog.
Aye.
14 ayes. We have a request to speak by Russell Ash on various topics.
Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we suspend the rules to allow the speaker to speak.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Mr. Ash, would you come forward, give your name and address for the record, please?
He's got 5 minutes.
He's got 5 minutes. And you have 5 minutes, you know the drill. Well, to talk, we'll leave it at that.
Russell Ash, 2704 Kentucky Road, Quincy. What I would like to talk about first is this document that I gave you all.
Would you move your microphone a little bit closer? It doesn't work as well. Go ahead.
There we go.
Thank
What
you.
I would like to talk about is this document I handed you so you had a chance maybe to look at it before. It's date submitted January 21, should be 22. I had this done for Monday, trying to be on time. And what I do is I think I have an idea that this will work. If you all will look at number one, if you raise the sticker prices to $1.25 to $1.50 an hour, that's going to give you an extra income of blank dollars. Now, how many dollars you reckon that is for a year? Anybody got a guess? I need your help. Participate.
You want us to tell you that?
Yeah.
Okay. Can someone tell him that? Sherry, can you answer that question? Okay.
All right.
So it would be 325,000 times
The dollar.
roughly $1, $325,000.
Thank you, Sherry.
There you go.
Okay, so extra income of 300 there. Have the recycling company give Quincy Financial Department $15,000 a month. Now, this is the department, or this is the group I'm talking about. The city uses our orange tubs, fills them up, puts them on the curb, and the city picks them up, puts them in the truck, and takes them to the recycle company. And at the end of every month, the recycling company gives Quincy $6,000 a month. To me, that sounds a little low. Henceforth, maybe $15,000 might be a little better versus the $6,000, which would give you about $120,000 extra money. Then, number 3, levy a 7% fee against the monthly revenue the outside contractors are obtaining from Quincy customers. And I calculated that about 300,000. I don't know if I'm right or wrong on that. Somebody might want to question that. But consequently, I'm saying there's $700,000 in your pocket. Okay, are there any questions?
Questions for Russell?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Alderman Brink.
Russell, what would we do on your item number 2 if Quincy Recycle or the company said no to your $15,000 proposal?
Well, you know, I reckon you people are pretty good negotiators, and you could probably negotiate 12 or 11 or 16 or, you know, I think they would probably want to stay with you and
How many
try to
other-
help the city. Now, this is called helping the city of Quincy, not helping the recycle company. I'm not trying to be smart.
No, I understand.
I would try to negotiate it, and they know they might be captive, but maybe they're not. Maybe there's somebody over in LaGrange that likes trash.
And then item number 2, you raise your sticker prices. If you took $1.50 stickers, a family of 4, you're getting up to the point where it's probably the same cost that it would be if that person hired a private hauler. At what point do you raise the sticker prices too high that you start losing customers, you think?
Well, I got a piece of your all's document that was very well prepared. Hang on just a minute. City of Quincy. And it shows here that if you had $1 sticker prices, okay, that the amount of sticker revenue would jump to about 1,200,000, okay, from about 600,000 like you are right now. So I wouldn't really raise it $1.50, and that's a good question. I'd only raise it if I was Quincy $1. And that's where the 300,000 that I came up with when I asked her the question that she sort of validated, pretty close. So that's where I've come from.
Thank you.
I don't think they'd go away. I don't think you'd have a mass exodus at $1.
But you do at $1.50, you think we'd have a mass exit?
I think you might have some. I'm not smart enough to tell you how many or what. I haven't done a marketing study like was discussed in a meeting the other day here that you all said you should do some research. I haven't done any real clinical research. Number one, I'm too lazy to do it.
One of the things that, over this debate is the calls that I receive personally is, from the one-person household versus the two-person household versus the family of 4 versus the family of 8. And I don't know if you wanted to address that issue or discuss that, or, to me, $1.50 is a little bit too high, that it takes away, it's okay for the family of, the one single-person household, but the family of 4 then goes private, I think.
Well, what I would suggest is what my alderman said the other time in a meeting here, is when we get into that position, somebody should make a study of that. And that's why maybe I would raise it to $1, start doing the study for another year, because my idea probably eventually will lead to privatization. It just eventually will, if done properly. I think you're doing it too fast right now, and that's all the reason I have tried to logically input and not get fanatical about it. So,
Now
go ahead.
when you talk about privatizing garbage and recycling, are you talking about the city walking away from it?
Yep.
Or are you talking about the city hiring a contractor and charging on the water bills?
Say again?
One of the options was to put the cost on the water bill to
No.
each resident.
I was talking about somebody hiring an outside contractor where you don't have the workman's comp, you don't have this and that, and the water bill thing is a real touchy thing anyway. A good question. I didn't mean to make that not clear.
You know, one of the concerns that I would have with privatizing garbage would, if you look in some of the neighborhoods we have, is, you know, people piling trash up behind their house. And so obviously we'd need to hire some additional staff to monitor that and some code enforcement issues.
Keep in mind, I'm trying to keep status quo. And that's why this might be the best of two worlds.
No, I don't think so.
You keep doing what you're doing.
Right. We may be getting a little far
That's fine.
afield. And let me go back to your point, and I think your point is well taken. I think one of our charges in the next several weeks is to try to find some relevance between this number of how much actual garbage we pick up at each house and what number is relevant. We can talk about averages. We've got two separate numbers floating out there from very competent sources. One is we pick up on average 1 bag of garbage per household. Another is on average we pick up 2.8. But the question is really relevant from a marketing standpoint as to how that demographic breaks up, and maybe a median would be a better number, because the point that you're getting to, and this is relevant in your little speech tonight, what happens to those heavy users of our garbage system that are the people that pay? We know for a fact that we have people, and I don't want to offend anyone, but we have people that use the system frequently and don't pay for it. In other words, they put out recycling consistently and don't put out garbage. It doesn't work that way. So I think the question of getting some better numbers, and again, I have the people, one of the persons that is very competent because they put their money into a bid, and I have our central services department, and they have two divergent numbers, 2.8 versus 1 bag of garbage on average a week. So I think your point's well taken. Yes.
I actually have a question on your presentation, Russell, and we seem to have gotten a little bit off of that. So when you're talking about the $1.25 to $1.50 per sticker, that only works if we do the rest of your points.
Oh, yeah.
So if we're not ready to do those other points, that skews the number about the viability of what you're proposing. Is that correct?
Well, no, not really. If you go to $1.50 a sticker,
Right.
you're going to make a ton of money.
Right.
And so number 2 and number 3 really
Wouldn't be
become
necessary.
a mute point, well,
Okay.
become semi. But I'd still, instead of getting $6,000 a month from this recycle company, I'd get at least $15,000 because somebody's ripping somebody off and don't publish that.
Well, like I said, I just want to make sure that we were understanding what you're presenting here is that the only way that really works at the levels that we were talking about, the $1 or the $1.25 or whatever, is if we do at least some of the other points.
Yes.
Otherwise, financially, it probably wouldn't work. At $1, but nothing else, may or may not work. We really don't know, but okay, that's all I've got.
Further
Thank you.
questions?
Good question.
Is there a move? Thank you very much, Mr. Ash. Is there a move to resume the rules?
Whoops.
What, you?
I know I only had 5 minutes, but you took all my 5 minutes.
Oh, no, you took your 5 minutes.
He's got a
I
couple.
have a couple
Does he
of real
want-
quick
Okay.
questions.
He's got a couple more.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I have a question. You say there's an RFP or PFI or whatever you call it, and which one is it that you are going from when you talk about the recyclable waste on Radio Road? Down south of town.
Those are all RFPs.
What
The-
document or what date were they issued?
Is Glenda here? Maybe Glenda can answer the question. Marty's not here, I don't think.
I have a specific reason
Right.
for this.
Can you answer the question, Glenda, as to when did we go out for proposal with an actual RFP on the yard waste program and the recycling program? Okay. Yeah, she does. That's what she's saying.
About when?
About when? When was it? Do you remember? October, November, seems like? Yeah.
Murphy should.
Is Jim Murphy here? No. Is there anyone from?
Here's what it says, I'll help you. It says
Okay.
proposals will be accepted in this office of the Director of Purchasing, City of Quincy, Illinois, 22301, until 4 p.m. o'clock, Friday, October 11th. So
Yeah.
obviously,
So October.
probably before.
Right.
October
Went out.
11th.
What she said is correct. It went out in the middle of September,
Oh, okay.
and it came back in October, and it was circulated basically October and November with the various aldermen. I think the administration met with individual aldermen and discussed it.
Okay, here's what I'd like.
Russell, could you pull the microphone down
Yeah,
again?
you're
We
fine.
like listening to
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, no, my wife doesn't. All right, here's what I'm saying. Here's your legal notice that I think went out. It says
Right.
legal notice. It says notice to contractors. City of Quincy.
Right.
There's no date on it. I don't think that's a legal RFP. You better check your records.
Is it a legal RFP?
You ought to check, because there isn't.
Will you check for next week? It's his opinion right now, briefly.
Yeah, opinion, I'm just
Right.
saying, and I'm not a lawyer,
Right.
but it sure doesn't look like it's legal.
We'll have a definitive response for you next week.
Okay.
I'm sure he'll
Then
research it.
going, last point, go with that, going toward option 4, which I think is Radio Road, if I understand it right. It has 4,000 cubic yards, grass clippings, leaves, 7,000 cubic yards, and loose brush, 90,000 cubic yards. Is that per month, per year, per 10 years, or what? It doesn't say. Now, going backwards, I'll just help you. The next part of it, there is, on the other stuff picked up, it says fiber, which just means boards and stuff, 1,500 tons or 3,000 pounds, non-fiber, 400 tons or 800,000 pounds, and then it says yearly. So that one at least defines it.
Well, I want to correct you. It's unfortunate that Jim Murphy's not here, and I don't think do we have anyone from Central Services? But I don't believe we pick up boards. We pick up wood material in terms of limbs and then foliage that would happen to be on those limbs, but we're not picking up boards.
Okay.
That's why we no longer have our own brush site, because we were picking up metal and other things, unfortunately.
Point I'm trying to make is it doesn't quantify the
Okay.
time period. And here's what I'm trying to ask you. You wanted to go $400,000 with your outside contractor again. You got another contractor that wants to do it for less, 300, 350 or whatever. If I was doing it to try to save money for Quincy, which I was a little disappointed that you didn't take the $60,000 lower bid on the Newcomb, but that's your business. But if I was doing it, I would go back to the company that does your brush and say, hey, you're getting 400,000, we got a low bid of 300 and a quarter. I think I would say, hey, how about looking at your numbers a little bit and negotiate with them like you were suggesting a minute ago, and hoping they don't go away, but if they do go away, you're going to save money anyway, and that's all I'm saying.
Okay. Question, Alderman Sassen?
Russell, did you take in the factor that one bid had a 1.5 multiplier versus a 2.5 multiplier on the recycle, and also the equipment that was involved in it on those bids?
It said in this bid that it was supposed to give a monthly data cost estimate, and in essence, an economic report, and it's not in there at all.
Right. Okay.
So I couldn't respond to that.
Thank you.
Well, and let me just point out again for the audience, and these are all worthy questions, and I'm sure they'll be repeated at some point when the recommendations of the Finance Committee and the administration come forward to the entire council. I feel a little bit goosey about going too far in the discussion because there's no one that was involved in the analysis and some of what we're talking about technically, they can speak to that presently here in the room. So, and again, you understand, a request for a proposal is nothing more than a request for options, and it does allow us to take other considerations in. And as your representatives, and to be fair to all those involved, we have to be careful about too far in the discussion. So I just want to, and you'll get to ask these questions all again at some point, because all of this will be before the council in the form of a resolution to be adopted or an ordinance change. So again, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your diligence and your analysis, and obviously you have a great deal of experience. And I would accept at this point a move to resume
Motion
the
to
rules.
resume the rules.
Second.
Is there a second? All those in favor, aye. Thank you again,
Thank you
Russell.
for the chance, and appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Madam Clerk, is there any new business to come before the council?
No.
Alderman Gale. Alderman Mann.
No, sir.
Alderman Deesterhouse.
No new business, Your Honor.
Alderman Bauer.
No, sir.
Alderman Holbrook.
None, Your Honor.
Alderman Havermill.
Yes,
you want
I
to
have
run that?
a-
I thought you would.
Yeah, I have a comment or a question for Director of Administrative Services, Glenda Hacamack.
Glenda Hacamack, Director of Administrative Services.
Glenda, I believe in the city code, it says that the department heads will be at every meeting or a designate. I'm making an official request that from this meeting forward, we either have the department head or a designate for this exact reason at every meeting. So moved.
Duly noted.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Alderman Sassen.
I just want to give a shout out to the Quincy High wrestling team. I had a fine showing over the weekend. They did a very fine job, represented the city very well, and they did a good job. Thank you.
Congratulations to Quincy High School. Okay. Alderman Ryan.
No new business, Your Honor.
Alderman Lepper.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Alderman Mussolino.
No new business, Your Honor.
Alderman Brink.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Alderman Heineke.
No, sir.
Alderman Hochschlag.
No new business.
Move we adjourn.
Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye. Meeting's adjourned.